feel that I wanted to say something in your YouTube channel, and I have been pain over the years with Kung Fu masters, and my ideas are very different, and there's no disrespect to the Kung Fu masters. I love martial arts. But before that, can you introduce me to who you are, please?
Who I am?
Yes.
Sifu Freddie Lee with Freddy's Modern Kung Fu.
Um, when you speak, and I hear you, right? You're a fan, and I wanted to explain to martial arts people that the traditional way of thinking kills a lot of ideas and dreams that Kung Fu masters want to put forth their art out there. You know, it pains me because I was a martial arts student. And I couldn't put the form in there, and I would be criticized for it. So the art would die. When did you learn martial arts? What did you learn martial arts?
When did I learn martial arts?
Yeah.
Well, my parents are from Hong Kong, so their Chinese culture has been with me, since the beginning. At the age of 9, I got really into basketball, and I was doing like a lot of athletic training. And then at the age of 16, I started martial arts training in Chinatown, Chicago, with the Ng Family Martial Arts Association back then. Trained with them for about a couple years, and then went to Purdue University and established my own martial arts club called Fighters United. That club was designed for like multiple martial artists to join, in which to basically just train and practice together. I operated and ran that club for 4 years, and then after that I graduated. I came back to Chicago, and I became a police officer for another 4 years. But during the time I was in college, actually, I kind of got really into Bruce Lee's teachings, the Jeet Kune Do, and I studied his teachings really in-depthly, and it inspired me to kind of create my own expression of the martial arts, and I've been practicing that like ever since. And then I integrated some of the things that I learned in law enforcement, and then in about 2010 is when I opened up my own martial arts school in Chicago, 1642 West Howard Street, and I've been running it here for about almost 10 years, teaching my art, and I call it Freddy's Modern Kung Fu. It's really heavily inspired by Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, but that's pretty much my background.
Thank you so much. Because since Chinese and Vietnamese are very close to each other, and we are very related. People say we're not related, but the culture are very similar, right? They have tonalities and the way that. What do you think that could be improved in the martial art aspect, right? Because I see a lot of negativity, right? Because you speak about that, a lot of negativity in martial art or kung fu, right? And that they have a lot of ego, right? And I wanted to not have so much negativity, but to be able to express oneself, right? To not just he can do it better, or I just wanted just a couple of thoughts. So what do you think that needs to change in the martial arts?
What do I think that needs to be changed in the martial arts?
I mean, no, because for me, I was born in America, right?
Yeah.
And I'm Asian American, and
Yeah.
I don't fit into the Asian culture, but my family is very traditional, right? And I wanted to have fusion because some people forget their culture, right? Because I watched Jackie Chan. He said the Asian people are very beautiful. We should not let go, right? Because too many Asian people in America, they let go of that. They do the American way, and they don't fuse that together, right? And that hurt me. And I see like these Asians, they don't speak Vietnamese. But how can we incorporate the traditional together and be flexible?
So you're asking like how?
In the martial arts world, combine it together because because the dynamic. It's like the traditional way. I love because for me, I love the traditional way of thinking for the martial arts. I look up to Wong Fei Hong because he was the Chinese hero, right?
Yeah.
And I love his philosophy to protect people. That's what martial arts is about.
Yeah.
To do the right thing, right? To save people, or but their aspect that should let go. What do you need that we can improve?
I really think that there needs to be martial artists out there that train really hard and are really talented and skilled, but kind of express the martial arts the way like kind of Bruce Lee did. Like inspire people like towards like positive things. You notice that Bruce Lee, he inspired a lot of people that didn't even practice martial arts. He inspired like even bodybuilders. Like, wow, look at how cut his body was. And he inspired like, small people. Like, wow, we're short, but we could still be like just as amazing as him and just get as much like fame and talent as him. And he only weighed like 125 when he died. So even when people that are skinny get inspired by him, like, wow, look at all this respect this guy got. He only weighed 125 pounds. His amazing acting, like probably the only, Asian American to ever get famous in America ever. So he inspired people to get into film. I mean, he was a father, he was a philosopher. And his books is what really changed me, actually. It's not really necessarily his movies. His movies just gave attention to him. But his books transformed me, taught me a lot, educated me, taught me about meditation, taught me to appreciate my own culture and to appreciate being who I am. And just it so happens that my last name is Lee, just like him. He was from Hong Kong. My parents are from Hong Kong. And it was just like so many similarities. And he kind of, we looked like each other. Just the fact that he was such an inspiration, and it's like we just need, I feel, especially you're Asian American as well, it's like like you got a Vietnamese background. Yeah, so I mean, like even like say Pacquiao, he's Filipino, but he's a inspiration to a lot of Filipinos. Imagine if there's like a Vietnamese American like martial artist that's famous. I mean, it would inspire you, right? And it's like we need like more Asian American people out there to take more leading roles. And it's like the martial arts comes from Asia, so it should be like led by Asian people. Like if not Asian, then Asian American people, because we need more leading roles. We need to serve as inspiration for people. And it's like there's so many talented people out there, but like how many talented, famous Asian Americans do we see? And I think that especially in the martial arts, like we deserve more recognition for what we do. We deserve like more, like we deserve to be leaders for what we're supposed to lead. And like, Jackie Chan, he's Chinese, but he's not Chinese American. Jet Li, he's Chinese, but he's not Chinese American. Donnie Yen, I'm not sure if he's Chinese American or not, but I'm just throwing some names out there, but I just feel that we need an opportunity to speak as well. There's a lot of noise out there, and I think the Asians have something special to share that's not just about fighting, not just about being the strongest or the fastest, but it's just about like the way that we think, the way that we live, the way that we treat people, the way that we treat our elders, the way that we value tradition. Just like things that are not like appreciated in America, but is appreciated in places like China or the other Asian countries. We need to bring that to America to let them see the beauty of the other things. And the sad thing is people won't listen to me unless they think that I can fight. So I gotta train hard, not necessarily to fight people physically, but I gotta train hard to let people know that, hey, I'm serious. I'm a serious martial artist too, and I have something to say. And I deserve, to have my time to speak, and I just think that we need more Asian American leaders out there to serve as an inspiration for other Asian Americans. And not just other Asian Americans, but just other people in general, because there's a lot of black people, white people, Hispanic people that love Bruce Lee. But the sad thing is there's only Bruce Lee. Like, it's not like there's like a bunch of other people that are Chinese American or whatever Asian American that people can even refer to. I mean, I can't even like think of one Korean American that practices martial arts that people will even know who I'm talking about. Or like Thai American, you know, there might be like Tony Jaa, but he's Thai. I don't think he's Thai American either. And it's like, I'm not gonna be in Hollywood. A lot of us are not gonna be in Hollywood. So like YouTube is like our platform to kind of like build a name for ourselves, reach out to people and help people, and just basically share something that we love, that we come from. It comes from our roots. That's where my parents came from. That's where I was born. I went through a lot of racism. I went through a lot of discrimination. I went through a lot of struggles looking the way that I look. And it's just like I have a different experience to share to the world that unfortunately a person that's not a minority, it's going to be hard for them to understand. And it can only come from someone like me because I've experienced it, you know, myself, you know, and like I think it's very important. You know, like I look up to all people of all races, not just Chinese American, but I'm just saying, like, I looked up to Michael Jordan when I was like 9 years old, and I looked up to him for like over 10 years, and I still look up to him. I looked up to Tupac Shakur. You know, I look up to, you know, a lot of talented non-Asian people. But it's just sad that I could only name just like maybe Bruce Lee and just a handful of people that I could look up to that are Asian American. You know, there's another thing. It's different to be Asian and then Asian American. You know, because I think we're kind of like stuck between both worlds, where even Bruce Lee was complaining about that. You know, I go to China, I'm not Chinese enough. I go to America, I'm not American enough. So he's kind of like stuck in between, and that's kind of how I feel too. It's like I'm a Chinese American, but then I don't speak Chinese that well, and I can't read it, I can't write it, and I don't understand it that well. So I'm not really like fully Chinese. But then I don't get fully accepted to be like American either, because people always look at me like, well, where are you from? You know, like where? You know, you're not American or whatever the case may be. I mean, so, I mean, that's just what I want. I just want an opportunity to kind of like share to the world what I love, the martial arts and my culture, like Kung Fu and all that, you know.
Thank you so much. That was so great. Because I watched your video. Donnie, you talk with your feeling, you talk the truth. So I hear that, because Asian people care, right? Not many races care, right? Because, you know, white people or, you know, the American culture are very different from the Asian culture, right? The Asian culture, what I like about the Asian culture is they have respect, right? But for me, is that the Asian culture, they kind of take the American culture and, you know, they think it's the right way, where, you know, a lot of Americans are rude, right? And while the Asian people are really respectful, right? What, in your philosophy of life, what style do you practice? Is it flexible or was it?
What style?
Yeah.
I'm always gonna claim and represent Kung Fu. You know, Bruce Lee would say, you know, he doesn't believe in styles and all that stuff, and you know, he just believes in the person. And for me, I kind of go along that lines. I don't like to call it a style because it's kind of limiting, but at the same time, I accept the fact that I am from, you know, my parents are from Hong Kong, my roots come back from China, so I'm going to represent the Chinese culture and their expressions. So Kung Fu, what I love about Kung Fu is that the root meaning of the word is not just about fighting. It's basically just like great discipline in bettering yourself. And the word actually derives from Confucius, who was not a martial artist, but he was a scholar. So it's not just about like, and you notice Bruce Lee, he wasn't just good at fighting, he was good at a lot of different things. So a person of great Kung Fu is somebody who's talented is like in many areas in life, not just like one thing. So that's what I love about that label, and that's what I always will choose to use to label what I practice and what I'm going to represent. If I wanted to, I could have used Wushu, which means martial arts in Chinese, but I'm not going to use that either, because Kung Fu is more like more to what I want to represent. And that's, in addition, that's what Bruce Lee was using. Before he came up with the Jeet Kune Do, he called his expression Jun Fan Gong Fu, which is basically Bruce Lee's Kung Fu. And then there's like Jet Li's Kung Fu, Jackie Chan's Kung Fu, Donnie Yen's Kung Fu. Well, this is like my Kung Fu, like Freddie's Kung Fu, you know, and that's what I practice. I practice my own expression of Kung Fu, and then martial arts is a part of that expression as well, and it's just an overall expression of it, and that's what I practice, you know.
Thank you so much for uploading Asian culture, because we need that. It's just that people are being misled and saying, when I've seen a lot where Asian people, they come to America and then they let go their culture, right? That's a no-no. And I see that for me, I feel you when I feel like I wasn't Asian enough when I was sitting they were Asian, right? And that they were Asian, and I didn't feel like I was Asian enough, and I didn't do that. And so, what are you afraid of, like, the most? It's not martial art aspect. What is your afraid of? How do you overcome that?
What am I afraid of the most?
Yeah.
I think at this moment, like, I'm afraid of, like, my YouTube channel shutting down, and then me getting banned, and then me not being able to express myself, and then me not making any money from there anymore. Because I've kind of like, it's hard to, but it's almost like you grow dependent on that. And it's like, just like reaching out to someone and talking to someone like you, that would never happen without the YouTube, you know? Right. And I wouldn't be able to like influence people, teach people, inspire people. I'd lose like so much money, and then I'll be struggling, and then it'd be hard for me to take care of my kids. And then like one of the biggest like fears is me having to shut down the school, and then I have nowhere to train, because I train with my kids like 4 times a week. I train with my dad here too. And if there's nowhere for us to train, it's like we miss out on all that family time. And then say if I got like a full-time job being a police officer or something, and then I don't really see my kids that much, I don't train them with them, and they don't really know that much martial arts, I don't ever see my dad that much, and it's just, that's what I fear. It's just like losing what I've come to, you know, because I love training, I love like spending time with my kids, I love teaching, and then having all that come crumbling down, it's a fear, you know. It's a fear that I don't want to happen. That's why I try to work so hard to keep things going, you know, and just hope for the best, you know. But I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, you know. Anything could happen. So that's it. Oh, you can't see me? Alright, let me see. Alright, let me try to get it back up.
I think it's like hear the audio.
Let me see.
I can hear the audio.
You can hear me?
I can't see you. Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Alright, let me try to get it back.
Okay, I can see you.
Alright, you can hear me good?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead.
Okay, so what's it for me? I'm thinking in my head, like, I hear a lot of martial arts, and I interview a lot of people. What is it that because I understand the side where you talk about you want to train athletes, you know that. But for me, I don't want the people their art to die. That's the thing that I don't want them to die. Like, it's so beautiful. It's hard to see that and hear that. And it's me being truthful, because I can't. Let's say I do a form and I put it on YouTube, and the Kung Fu brother would tell them to take it down. So what can we do?
So I mean, you're cutting in and out, but are you basically saying that you don't want the art to die? So you're like, you're putting a video up of yourself doing a form, and then you're like, your Kung Fu brother's telling you to take it down?
Yeah, I mean, they're from the Kung Fu school, but because in the Kung Fu school, it's the Hung Fut, the Hung Fut system, and they had the Shaolin rule, right? And it said you cannot teach other people. But I understood that. But I understood why you can't teach people, but in me, I want to teach because it's fun and it's passion. But it's no harm to just to express oneself, just because the form it's unique. That's I deal with.
I think part of it is like maybe the tradition, but then I think maybe part of it is like a business thing. Like maybe they feel like you're not ready to teach, and that, or maybe it could just be, even if you are ready, maybe they just want to make sure that they're getting paid as well, because it might be like a copyright type thing that they feel, because a lot of this stuff is like almost like in a way like a old school copyright protection type thing, you know. So a lot of these like Wing Chun forms are very like obscure and you can't really find them, and then only certain people know them, so then people are like going to like travel to China or different states and different countries to learn from somebody and pay somebody to learn it. But if they could just find that on YouTube, they're like, oh, I don't need to pay anybody to learn it because I just find that on YouTube. So I think a lot of it is actually a money thing, especially when it from my end, like that's what it is to me. Like honestly, like I feel really, it's kind of like tough for me to start teaching anything online because I know what people do. Like they'll take what I teach and then they'll promote it and they'll make money off of what I shared. And that's very discouraging as an artist because you created something and now somebody is making a bunch of profit off of something that you created. And there's nothing to protect you. And that's the thing that I fear, and that's one thing that I don't want. But it's like, I made the video the other day, my back is against the wall, I really don't even have many students to teach, and it's like, this is my opportunity to see if I can make it big and find a following to learn from me so I can make money off of that. But the drawback, the risk is that people will steal what I've created and then start making a bunch of money off of it. Because there's a lot of like martial artists out there that have big names, but they don't really have much skill, and then they will take from the smaller people and then redistribute it to act as if they created it, and then they make a bunch of money off of it, and then you shared something online, you made nothing, and then it got stolen from you, and they made money off of it. You know, so people will make money off of the smaller people that truly have the skill. You know, and that's a big fear for any creator out there, not just martial artists, but musicians, producers, everybody. And that's the thing that YouTube does, is not all the times will it benefit the creator. Like, I'm thankful that I can make the money that I'm making, and that's what has encouraged me to start trying to teach, because I'm making some good money from YouTube and I'm very thankful, and I want to give back. And I want people to appreciate what I have to share, and I want to see if I can find people that are like serious about the martial arts to represent like what I teach. You know, that's because I'm getting paid. But if I wasn't getting paid, I'm not going to be making these videos because people are going to take what I got. And it's just like, I put a lot of hard work into creating these things, and I don't want to just people just to exploit me. You know, so I think that's a concern for school owners. So if you're learning from somebody that owns a school, I can understand why they would not want you to teach, because if you put the form out there in the video, and people are like, oh, I won't even have the class. Like, oh, I won't go to class anymore because, you know, it's on the YouTube already. Like, I don't need to come to class. It's on YouTube. You know, and that's pretty much.
Okay, this one I understand. So it's not about teaching it. It's about expressing the tradition of the martial art. Because I love the martial art. Not good. I'm just saying that, what if we can change the way that we think? What if we can change? Right now, my videos are mentoring other successful people, right? So if the ideas have the potential to change someone else's life, why can't we change it? I understand that it's a copyright, but why can't we just express that? For me, if I come to you, let's say I learn from you, and then I promote you, right? This is what I'm doing right now, right? I'm promoting you to my wife, right? And that will get you people to watch. And the way that the the economy right now, it's like the market is what's this called? Free video, so you can attract. They call it the inbound marketing, right? The day that we're no longer newspaper, right? The newspaper, the flyer, it's no more, right? You can't attract. I saw the Japanese guy, right? Hero. He have lots of YouTube videos where people come to him for sushi. And I'm just suggesting that there's a different way. That somehow there's a different way. But I respect that. And there's no disrespect. I think it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understand where you're coming from too, because we all are in that other side of it, because that's what, and essentially that's what happened with my first kung fu teacher, is there was a discrepancy with that. Like, he didn't want me performing the forms that he taught me, and then my mom wanted me to perform it because she knew a lot of people in Chinatown, and she's like setting up all these performances, and I'm just listening to my mom because she's my mom. And then all of a sudden my sifu at the time was really pissed off that I was doing all that and not even ask his permission. So I obviously was on the other side of it too, right? And I didn't think there was anything wrong or whatever. But now, you know, when I run my business and I own a school and I'm trying to make money and make a living, I understand the other side too. You know, so there's both sides to it. You know, just like there's the government and then there's the people. The people always complain about the government, but when they become government officials themselves, then they might understand the other side too. You know, so, you know, I'm not a police officer now, but I used to be, so I kind of understand like their thought processes too. And then now that I'm not a police officer, I'm back on the other side. So it's unfortunate, but there is that aspect of it. You're either an instructor or a student. You know, and if you're an instructor, you're making money and you're doing all this other stuff, or you're a student and you're paying money and things like that. But once you are a student and you want to become an instructor, and then you're learning from somebody who's teaching you, then things could start getting you know, it could get pretty complex when there's money involved and things like that. If there's no money involved, then it's easier to deal with, I think. But when there's money involved, you know, that's why there's all these legal things going on with all these copyrights and trademarks and all this other stuff. It's serious things, you know, like if somebody takes your work and starts profiting off of it, you know, then, and they start making thousands, if not millions, it's a serious issue. So, you know, and unless people go through that themselves, it'll be kind of hard for them to understand, you know. But I do understand both sides, I mean, for sure, because I've been on the other side too, you know. Sorry, I think I...
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. Am I back?
Yeah. What does success look like to you?
What does success
look like to you?
Yeah. Success is, to me, in the realm of the martial arts, I guess, just building a bigger following and making a lot of money. I mean, it's not all about money, but just being successful, being financially successful, being in a position where you have a lot of respect from the people, and they're willing to learn from you and listen to you. And, you know, like I come in, you know, if I walk into this martial arts school and there's like 30 students at all times, like morning and night, and there's always students here, and then I have assistant instructors that are helping me with the class, and, you know, not just me making money, but, you know, other instructors making money, and just having a bigger influence in the population. And, you know, like Bruce Lee, for example, was extremely successful. Jackie Chan's successful. Jet Li's successful. Donnie Yen's successful. And, you know, we all know who they are. But if I just bring up a random name and nobody who knows who he is, then, you know, then there's still a lot of work to be done. You know, and like it all starts somewhere, but I think all of us, you know, can be motivated to do better or be better. And I want to be able to grow further than where I'm at. And I'm thankful where I'm at, but I know that there's much greater potential, because there's a lot of things that I'm holding back. Like honestly, like not too long ago, I wouldn't even set up an interview with anybody and even speak to anybody, you know, like I'm doing right now, because I'm just like I'm afraid of people attacking me and just like destroying me and, you know, just like saying all these negative things and getting me angry or sad or whatever. But now I'm trying to break out of that and communicate with people more. So obviously there's a lot of growth that can happen within me that hasn't been tapped into. And even just before you called, I spent like almost an hour making a tutorial. But that I would have never done that if I didn't plan to post it on YouTube. No way. So there's a lot of stuff that I have to teach that I have not taught. So I know that there's so much more room for growth, and I wish maybe one day that I could get the respect similar to what Bruce Lee had, because it's just like we need a living Bruce Lee, you know. And if it's not me, then it should be somebody that's Chinese American that's inspiring people, you know. And you know, Donnie Yen, he's doing great, you know. Yip Man 1 2 3, I think he's working on 4. But like we need either more or something more in depth, because it wasn't Bruce Lee's movies that really inspired me. It was his books. So really, like, if I get more respect, more recognition, and more people will just sit down and listen to what I have to say, like say this interview that you're making, and I can really like reach out to people, then that's what's important in the end of the day. You know, not really about just punching and kicking, but just like